Alright, hello everyone. Welcome sa pangalawa nating Psycho Devotion. It's been a while since the last time na gumawa tayo ng Psycho Devotion tungkol sa John 3:16. Okay, so ngayon lang ulit na sundan. We will talk about Luke chapter 18 verses 1 to 8. Okay, so before we start, ilan na ba yung nanonood sa atin? 1,716. Wow, marami ha. O yan, nadagdagan pa. Naging ilan na? 1,717. Wow! Salamat sa mga nanonood dyan ha. Anyway, so let's reflect upon Luke 18, 1 to 8. Basahin natin. And he told them a parable. Yung he dito, si Jesus. Yung them dito, yung mga kausap niya. Isa na dyan yung mga disciples niya and other people na nakikinig sa kanya. No? And he told them a parable to the effect that they ought always to pray and not to lose heart. Verse 2, he said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor respected man. So medyo bad boy itong judge na to. And there was a widow in that city who kept coming to him and saying, sa Tagalog kinukulit siya, give me justice against my adversary. May kaaway yung widow, humihingi siya ng justice. Hindi na sinabi kung ano ba kasi nangyari. No? Basta humihingi siya ng justice. Siguro inapi siya ng adversary niya. For a while, he refused. Yung judge. But afterward, he said to himself, though I neither fear God nor respect man, anong sabi niya? Yet, because this widow keeps bothering me, I will give her justice so that she will not beat me down by her continual coming. Tagalogin mo, ibig sabihin lang yan, sige na nga, ibibigay ko na lang yung gusto niya para hindi na lang siya makulit. How many of you may ganyang attitude? No? Kung kaya mo naman, ibigay mo na lang yung gusto ng isang tao para hindi ka na lang kulitin. Diba? I'm sure maraming ganyan dyan. No? Tuloy natin. And the Lord said, si Jesus to, hininto na niya yung story niya, lumabas na siya sa story kasi may gusto siyang i-pinpoint. Hear what the unrighteous judge says. Sabi ni Jesus, and will not God give justice to his elect, who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long over them? I tell you, he will give justice to them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? Okay, so that's Luke chapter 18 verses 1 to 8. Ano yung mga pwede nating matutunan dito? I want to share with you three things. Number one, in this passage, Jesus was teaching people persistence. Everybody say persistence. Si Jesus, every time nagtuturo siya ng isang parable, meron siyang concept na gustong ituro sa mga tao, and in this case, yung persistence. Yung hindi ka basta-basta sumusuko, paulit-ulit mong ginagawa until makuha mo yung gusto mong makuha. We can see that verse 1 pa lang. And he told them a parable to the effect. Everybody say effect. Diba? Effect means yung outcome. May gustong outcome si Jesus na mangyari after teaching the parable. Which is what? Di ituloy mo. That they ought always to pray and not lose heart. I-combine mo yung dalawa, always to pray, not lose heart. Yun na yung tinatawag na persistence. Siyempre, you're gonna ask me, bakit ba tinuturo ni Jesus yung persistence? Lagi namang may reason si Jesus, di ba? Very rational person si Jesus. Bakit niya tinuturo yung persistence? For what reason? Because Jesus knows the danger of drifting away or human beings like us finding substitute other than God when God does not answer our prayer. Jesus knows that. Right? Kabisado niya yung human nature. After all, siya ang gumawa ng mga tao. Alam niya na ang mga tao, kapag nag-pray tayo at hindi kaagad nabibigay sa atin ni Lord yung prayer natin, we have a tendency to drift away, hihinto na tayo sa pagpapray natin, or worse, hahanap tayo ng kapalit ni Lord na magbibigay sa atin ng pinagpe-pray natin. And that is a very dangerous thing to do. Kasi kapag nag-separate ka, lumalayo ka from God, by drifting away, finding substitute, hindi nagiging maganda yung outcome. We go back to John 15:5. Isa sa mga favorite verses ko to. Ano sinabi ni Jesus dyan? Apart from me, you can do nothing. Nagkakaroon ng mga spiritual consequences kapag ang tao lumalayo from the presence of his or her maker. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Nagkakaroon ka ng psychological disability. Because you are running away. You are moving away from the source of life, who is God. At nangyayari yan when you drift away, kapag naghahanap ka ng substitute other than God to answer your prayers. Let me give you one example para malinaw. Halimbawa, pinagpe-pray mo, love life. Sino dito pinagpe-pray yan? Love life. Sana ma-meet na niya ang dawan. Taas ang kamay. Ilan ang nagtaas? 785 yung nagtaas. Okay, so ibaba nyo na yung kamay nyo. Pinagpe-pray nyo, love life. Tapos, ang sagot ni Lord, wait. Sa perspective natin, as fallen human beings, most likely, kapag ang sagot ni Lord, wait, ang interpretation natin, no. Kasi matagal yung wait eh. Diba? Pero sa totoo lang, yung wait, it's a form of yes, hindi lang ngayon. Pero dahil sinful nga tayo, ang interpretation natin, no, tapos galit ka pa kay Lord. Nakasimangot ka pa kay Lord. Ganyan ka naman, Lord eh. Yan. Sino dito ganyan? Nag-pray ka, hindi dumating, nakasimangot kay Lord. Tapos sasabihin, ganyan ka naman eh. Yan. Anyway, so kapag ganyan yung nangyari, sabi ni Lord, wait, interpretation mo, no, possible response, didiskartehan mo na lang mag-isa. Ang logic mo, pinag-pray ko to hiningi ko sa'yo to, Lord. Tapos hindi mo binigay, parang hindi ka sumasagot. Natutulog ka yata. Ako na lang didiskarte mag-isa. So anong gagawin mo? Ikaw ngayon maghahanap ng substitute na magbibigay sa'yo ng love life na pinagpe-pray mo. So ang gagawin mo, kukunin mo yung cellphone mo, gagamit ka ng mga apps dyan. Hindi ko na lang babanggitin kung anong apps dyan. Shout out din sa mga taong gumagamit niyan. Ito ngayon yung gagamitin mong substitute para makuha mo yung love life na pinagpe-pray mo. Sino dito ang guilty dyan? Huwag nyo nang itaas kamay nyo. 'Di ba? Mag-swipe left ka, left, right. Ito, cute to, left. Ito, okay to, right, left, right. Tapos i-message mo, tapos mag-eyeball kayo, hoping na isa sa mga ma-meet mo diyan yung inaasam-asam mong love life. Yan, yung ganyang pattern, this is very spiritually dangerous. Pwede mong ikapahamak in the spiritual level. That's why Jesus is teaching persistence. Na kapag ikaw nag-pray, kahit na parang walang sagot si Lord, parang hindi ka nakikinig ni Lord, anong gawin mo? Mag-pray ka lang ng mag-pray. This is His way of preventing people from drifting away or finding substitute other than God na sasagot sa mga prayers nila. Kaya niya tinuturo ang persistence. Number 2, Jesus is teaching people how to see God. Kaya niya sinabi yung parable na yan. Tinuturuan niya yung mga tao kung ano ang tamang view dapat. Paano mo dapat tignan si Lord? Ano ang tingin mo kay Lord? In the field of psychology, ang tawag namin dyan is God image. Everybody say God image. This is a very busy area of research. Pinag-aaralan namin dito kung ano ba yung mga tingin ng mga tao kay Lord. How do you see God? Okay? So if you want more details about that, you can just read journal articles tungkol sa God image. This is highly recommended article that you can read para malaman nyo anong pinag-aaralan sa image of God. So anyway, in this passage, sineset ni Jesus yung tamang God image sa mga tao. Paano nyo dapat tignan si Lord? So ang tanong, paano ba dapat tignan ng mga tao si Lord? E di punta tayo sa verse 7. Highlighted ko yung mga words na binilugan ko dyan ng red, no? And will not God give justice to His elect who cry to Him day and night? Will He delay long over them? Mga rhetorical questions to. Ibig sabihin, although obvious ang sagot, tinanong pa rin ni Jesus. Diba? Will not God give justice? Of course He will. He's a God of justice. Will He delay long over them? Of course, hindi. Lalo na kapag yung prayer mo naman urgent. Understandable, di ba? Pero tinatanong pa rin niya ni Jesus to drive or to make a point. Nagigets nyo? Okay? And what is the point? To establish how should people see God. Ngayon, ang tanong dito, a deeper question is, bakit ba nagmamatter pa kung paano ba natin dapat tignan si Lord? Bakit hindi na lang natin tanggapin yung iba't ibang paraan kung paano tignan ng tao si Lord? Diba? Why is Jesus still taking time to really set what is the right way to see God? Kasi, very interesting about God image, it affects a person's mental health or even your intimacy with God. Very interesting to, in the God image research, depende sa pananaw mo sa Diyos, may epekto yan sa mental health mo and whether or not magiging close ka kay Lord. Like for instance, in this article, i-zoom in natin para makita ninyo, meron talagang effect yan sa mental health. Okay? Kung paano mo tignan si Lord, pwedeng makabuti, pwede rin yan makasama sa mental health mo. Pero syempre, ang gusto natin yung mabuti. What is the right way for us to see God na makaka-contribute positively sa mental health natin, pati na rin sa spiritual intimacy natin with God? So ang tanong, paano nga? There are two ways how to see God. You see a benevolent God or you see a punishing/angry God. Pag sinabi mong benevolent God, ang tingin mo kay Lord, He is a loving God. Yun na yung sinasabi sa John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Yun yung sinasabi sa 1 John 4:16, that one nature of God is love. Diba? Kaya it follows, if God is love and you serve God, you worship that God of love, what do? You should love one another. Sa ibang lecture ko, i-discuss yan. On the other hand, pag sinabi mong punishing or angry God, ang paniniwala mo si Lord laging galit. Nag-aantay siya sa langit na magkamali ka, and the moment na magkamali ka, kikidlatan ka niya ng 5 beses. Yan. Kaya lagi kang stress, no? Lagi kang natatakot, lagi kang anxious na may magawang mali. In general, itong picture of God na to, angry God, punishing God, very present in the Old Testament. Diba? Kung pag-aralan mo yung mga prophets, both major and minor prophets in the Old Testament, generally yan yung lagi nilang message na pinapadala sa mga rulers ng Israel. Galit si Lord. Ang dami-dami yung mga idolatry dyan. Ang dami-dami yung mga kasalanan dyan. Hindi nyo sinusunod yung mga utos niya. Galit si Lord, lagot kayo, i-judge kayo, malapit na. Yan yung dominant picture of God in the Old Testament. Does that make sense? So these are the two ways on how to see God. Ngayon, i-connect na natin to doon sa research na ginagawa ng mga psychologists on this. According to their results, kapag ang tao, ang tingin sa Diyos is benevolent God, God is love, ito yung nagbibigay ng better mental health and higher levels of spirituality. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung mga tao who feels very close, very at ease, very intimate with God when they see God as a loving God, as a loving Father. On the other hand, yung mga tao naman na ganito yung picture kay Lord, laging galit, laging mataas ang blood pressure, kikidlatan sila anytime na magkamali sila, these are the people who experience high levels of neuroticism. Lagi silang napapraning, lagi silang guilty, and most likely, nakaka-experience ng religious trauma. Yan. Very busy area of research din yan, no? Yung religious trauma. Ito na yung mga ayaw na mag-church, ayaw na makakita ng mga religious people, ayaw na sumali sa mga iba't ibang mga religious events. Kasi sinabi sa Jeremiah 36:31, si Lord galit, lagot ka, kasi ang dami mong kasalanan. So when you see God that way, ito yung negatively nakaka-contribute sa mental health. Does that make sense? Ngayon, nasaan na tayo sa passage? Ba't nawala na? Ibabalik natin. Between benevolent God and punishing/angry God, ano ang sineset ni Jesus dito? Anong pinaparating niya sa mga taong nakikinig sa kanya? Yung number 1. Right? This is the reason why Jesus was saying the parable in this passage to set the tone, to set the right image. Paano ba natin dapat tignan si Lord? And that is what? How? Dapat, ang tingin natin kay Lord, He is a benevolent God, He is a loving God. Going back to verse 7, and will not God give justice to His elect, who cry to Him day and night? Will He delay long over them? Rhetorical questions na obvious, alam natin yung sagot. Will not God give justice? Of course He will. Will He delay long over them? Of course not. Jesus was saying here that God sees, God hears, and God feels just like human beings like us. So every time that we think na ang Diyos, hindi tayo naiintindihan, hindi makarelate sa atin, hindi naman niya pinagdaanan yung mga pinagdadaanan natin, we should realize mali yun. Because God is a God who sees, hears, and feels just like what we see, what we hear, and what we feel. Kaya in another passage, kung i-cross-reference ko to sa Hebrews, the keyword here is sympathize. Diba? Meron tayong great high priest who is Jesus, who is God Himself. Ano yung ability niya? He can sympathize with us. Nakikita rin niya yung nakikita natin, naririnig din niya yung mga naririnig natin, nararamdaman din niya yung mga nararamdaman natin because God became human. Nagigets ninyo? So, God understands us, and He made an effort to understand us because He is a benevolent God. So, dapat hindi tayo mag-hesitate, hindi tayo magda-doubt, into thinking whether God understands us. Because He loves us so much, gumawa siya ng effort para maintindihan tayo through Jesus. Number 3, another teaching dito sa passage na to, Jesus is teaching people that God will respond. Para sa mga kalaro ko sa basketball dyan, kaway-kaway dyan, meron tayong term sa basketball, sure ball. Ibig sabihin ng sure ball, pag sinabi sa'yo, eto, pag binigay mo yung bola dito, sure ball. Ibig sabihin, yung taong may hawak ng bola, siguradong sigurado, pag binato niya yan, papasok yan. Sure ball, pasok yan. Yun. Ganun din dito. Jesus is teaching people when it comes to answering prayers, sure ball. Si Lord, sasagutin yung mga prayers mo. And where can we see that? Verse 7. And will not God give justice to His elect? I want to emphasize on the word elect. Anong kinalaman nito sa pagiging sure ball? Ito na. Okay? Yung word na elect dito, it's like, ang ginagawa ni Jesus dito, dahil ang tawag sa inyo, elect, sure ball, that whenever you pray to God, sasagutin niya yung prayer nyo. Makakaasa kayo na sasagot siya. 1,000% sure. Okay? Parang sinasabi dito, sobrang impossible that God will not respond because you are elect. Bakit? Ano bang meron sa elect? Anong kinalaman ng elect sa sure ball, sasagutin ni Lord yung prayers ng mga elect? We have to jump to other passages in other instances of Jesus' ministry. For instance kasi, yung elect, mas mataas yan kumpara sa birds. At yung birds, mas mataas yan kumpara sa grass. Okay? So, kapag tignan mo yung mga teachings ni Jesus, ikumpara-kumpara mo yung elect, yung birds and grass, magigets mo kung bakit pag elect ka, sure ball kang sasagutin ni Jesus yung prayer mo. Okay? Bakit sure ball ang God's response? Ito kasi, yung mga grass nga sinabi niya yan, di ba? In one passage, i-zoom in natin. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow, and is thrown into the furnace, will He not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Yung mga grass nga binibihisan niya. Hindi naman nagpe-pray yung mga grass. Hindi naman made in God's image yung mga grass, pero binibihisan niya yung mga grass. Mas maganda pa raw sa damit ni Solomon if you continue the passage. Yun yung sinasabi dyan. Right? Next, yung mga birds nga I'm just paraphrasing here Diba? Hindi naman nagtatrabaho yung mga yan. Ingay lang ng ingay yung mga yan. Diba? Poops lang ng poops yung mga yan. Hindi nga nagpe-pray yung mga yan. They are not created in the image of God yet. God feeds them. Sila nga hindi nagpe-pray. Binibigay yung kailangan nila. Nagigets nyo yung logic ni Jesus dito? And then aakit na tayo sa elect. Kayo pa, mga elect, created in the image of God. Binili kayo by the blood of Christ. Will not God give justice to His elect who cry to Him day and night? Yan na yung verse 7. Paraphrase, sure ball. Pag kayo nag-pray kay Lord, sasagutin niya yung mga prayers ninyo. So huwag kayong magduda whether or not God will answer your prayers because He will. Isa pang cross-reference, yung elect, i-connect mo na doon sa Luke 11, connected dyan yung word na son or daughter. What father among you, if his son or daughter ask for a fish, will give him snake instead? Diba? Yung mga elect, mga anak sure ball, when you ask something from God and it makes sense, na hingin mo yon, sure ball, sasagutin niya yung prayers mo. Diba? O ngayon, maybe some of you are asking or saying to me, may pinag-pray ako dati, pero hindi naman nangyari. Sige nga, paano mo masasabi na si Jesus benevolent? Paano mo nasabi na si Jesus will respond to me? Anong sagot ko dyan? For those of you saying this, ang sagot dyan is gentle reminder. Ang sabi ko, God will respond to your prayer. God will answer your prayer. Pero the answer is not always yes. Isa yan sa mga fallacies, no, ng mga Christians when we talk about answering prayer. Pag tinanong kita, in-answer ba ni Lord yung prayer mo? Pag hindi nangyari, ang sagot mo is no. Actually, yung hindi niya pagsagot ng prayer mo, it's an answer in itself. So, lahat ng prayers, sinasagot ni Lord. Yun nga lang, it's not always yes. May tatlong sagot si Lord sa prayers natin. Number 1 is yes. Bibigyan niya yung hiningi mo. Number 2 is no. Hindi niya ibinigay yung hiningi mo. And number 3 is wait. Ibibigay niya, hindi lang ngayon. Does that make sense? Pero, you have to remember this. Kahit ano pa yung sagot niya dyan, yes, no, or wait, always remember that these answers always sure ball. Ito, dito papasok yung word na sure ball. Sure ball, yan yung best answer for you. So, all prayers are answered. Huwag niyo sabihin walang unanswered prayer. Meron. Sinagot ni Lord yan, yes. Sinagot ni Lord yan, no. Sinagot ni Lord yan, wait. So don't think that there are unanswered prayers. And whatever answer that God gives you, it's always the best for you. Dito na ngayon papasok ulit yung sa point number 2, why He is a benevolent God. Why is He a loving God? Because ang isang tao, pag mahal mo, gusto mo lagi yung best for that person, di ba? Magbibigay ka ng flower sa asawa mo, gusto mo best flower, gusto mo best damit, gusto mo best restaurant. Kasi mahal mo yung asawa mo. You always want the best for him or for her. Ganon din si Lord. Because God loves us so much, gusto niya lahat ng sagot niya sa prayer natin, it's what is best for us, whether that's yes, no, or wait. Kung gagawa natin ng conceptual framework yan, conceptual framework, shout out dyan sa mga researchers na mahilig mahilig sa mga scientific conceptual framework. Ito 'yon, no? 'Di ba? In the perspective of God, kung ano man yung sagot niya sa pinag-pray mo, yes, no, wait, makakaasa ka, sure ball, it's always for your best. And where can we see that? Doon sa passage, balikan natin, yun na. And He told them a parable to the effect that they ought always to pray and, everybody read, not lose heart. For those of you who are asking, how not to lose heart in praying? Anong sagot? Ito yung tandaan yung model. Kaya kasi naglo-lose heart yung mga tao sa prayer kasi there are times they sense na si Lord hindi nakikinig yung prayers nila, ini-snub sila, they lose heart. Ay, nagpray ako ng bagong kotse, hindi naman ako pinakinggan, binigay sa akin mountain bike, hindi na nga lang ako magpe-pray. Baka ayaw niya, tapos magtatampo-tampo. Yan, nag-lose heart. So ano ang panlaban doon? How not to lose heart? Etong sagot. Tandaan mo na kahit ano pang sagot ni Lord sa'yo, yes, no, or wait, it is always for your best. O di ba nakaka-motivate yan, honestly? Sino dito na-motivate? Taas ang kamay. Ilan? May na-motivate na 638.5. Uy, may 0.5, no? May 0.5 pa talaga. But anyway, kidding aside, that's how not to lose heart in your prayer life. Ano man ang sagot niya sa prayer ko, yes, no, wait, I'll be happy, I'll be joyful because I know this is the best for me. Balikan natin yung specific example natin. Nag-pray ka ng love life mo. Lord, sana bigyan mo na ako ng boyfriend, ng girlfriend na mapapangasawa ko. 3 possible answers. Number 1, yes. Yan yung gusto ng marami. But again, it does not always happen. Lord, bigyan mo ako ng love life. Boom! Anong sagot niya? Yes. Mamimit mo na bukas ang future hobby mo. Yun. Habang nagba-Bible study, meron palang bagong dating, doon sa Bible study group. Yun pala yung magiging future asawa mo. Sinagot ni Lord prayer mo. Okay? No. Nako, ito yung maraming nakasimangot. Pero tatandaan mo, kapag no ang sagot niya, why? Going back to the framework, because this is the best for you. Ma-achieve mo yung best version mo kapag ang sinagot niya sa prayer mo is no. Yun pala kaya siya nag-no, ipapadala ka ni Lord sa isang isla. Ikaw yung magkakaroon ng mission doon where thousands of souls will be saved. Kaya pala gusto niya ni Lord single ka para yung 100% of your mind, of your spirit, nakafocus doon sa mission. Ilan tao doon sa isla? 10,235. Dahil nagkaroon ka ng mission doon, nag-church planting ka doon, ang daming na-save. Yung buong isla na-save. Hindi mo magagawa yon kung meron kang asawang iniintindi. Diba? Nasa isla ka, nagmi-mission ka doon, yung asawa mo, hindi marunong magluto, inaantay ka, di-divided yung mind mo. Minamadali mo yung Bible study kasi yung asawa mo gutom na. Kawawa naman yung asawa mo. Turuan mo kasi magluto muna ng pansit canton, 'di ba? 'Yon. Kaya nag-know si Lord. Yung pagiging single mo, yung magiging best version mo for you to fulfill your mission the best way you can. Number 3, wait. Kapag ang sagot ni Lord, wait, ibig sabihin, hindi siya naghihindi. Ang sagot niya, oo, pero hindi pa ngayon. Bakit hindi pa ngayon? Kasi gusto niya, improve mo muna yung sarili mo. Para pag na-meet mo yung asawa mo in the future, magiging maayos yung pamilya ninyo. Kasi pag ngayon ko sinagot yan, sabi ni Lord, hindi maayos yung anger management mo. Lagi mainit ulo mo, lagi kang high blood. 'Di ba? Matabig ka lang ng konti, magulo lang yung hairstyle mo, na umiinit na yung ulo mo. Pag ginawa mo sa asawa mo yan, lagi kayong mag-aaway. 'Di ba? Ayusin mo muna yung financial management skills mo. Hindi ka marunong mag-budget Tuwing may pera ka, binibili mo lahat ng di mo kailangan. 'Di ba? Tuturuan ka muna ni Lord ng financial management. Ganito mag-budget. Ito lang dapat binibili mo. Dapat may savings ka. 5 years mong inaral yan. After 5 years, boom, finally. Hindi ka na nananapok. 'Di ba? Ang dami mo ng savings, marunong ka na magpaikot ng pera. Isang araw, habang nag-withdraw ka ng pera sa ATM, after mong mag-withdraw, nung umatras ka, boop, may nabunggo ka, yun na. Yung future mong mapapangasawa. No? Akala mo, yun na, yung hold-upper. Hindi. Yung future mong mapapangasawa. Ganon. 'Di ba? Based on this example, kahit saan ka lumugar dyan, what's the keyword? Sure ball. Ang sagot ni Lord, that's the best for you. Pag ganyan ang pananaw mo sa prayer mo, kahit ano palang sagot ni Lord, yes, no, or wait, ano magiging effect sa iyo niyan? You will not lose heart. Alright? So, applications as we end this devotion. Number 1, ano yung mga dapat natin gawin? Dapat consistent yung prayer life natin. Going back to the passage, anong ginawa ng widow? Crying to the judge, day and night. Day and night. Ibig sabihin, in terms of frequency, paulit-ulit, hindi humihinto. Sa isa pang epistle, sinabi dyan, 'di ba? Ito yung version ni Paul, if I'm not mistaken, pray without ceasing. Ito yun. Ganyan tayo dapat mag-pray. Hindi humihinto, gagawin nating lifestyle. Remember that prayer is our spiritual food. Isa ito sa mga kinakain ng kaluluwa natin. Syempre, pagkain yan, dapat araw-araw natin ginagawa, 'di ba? Kayo naman, 'di ba, araw-araw kayo kumakain. So dapat yung kaluluwa natin ganyan din. Araw-araw din natin pinapakain through prayer. When was the last time you prayed? Nako, for those of you na ang sagot last week o last year, nako, gutom na ang kaluluwa nyo, pakainin nyo na please. Gawin nyong consistent yung mga prayer lives ninyo. Number 2, see God's love through your prayers. One of the most age-old questions that many Christians ask, does God love me? Paano ko ba malalaman if God loves me? Alam nyo ba, pwede nyong gamitin yung prayer to answer this question? Paano? Balikan mo yung mga pinag-pray mo. Tapos tignan mo how God's answers to those prayers led you to the best version of you. Doon mo talaga marirealize, doon mo makikita, maliwanag pa sa araw how much God loves you. Kaya itali mo yung prayer mo. Ipunin mo yung mga pinag-pray mo, abangan mo kung ano yung mga outcomes, tapos i-analyze mo based on the outcomes. How are those outcomes the best answer that God can give me? Yan yung tinatawag nating prayer journal. Kaya I highly encourage for those of you who are listening, gawin yung practice to. Magkaroon kayo ng prayer journal. Ilagay nyo dyan yung mga pinag-pray ninyo, abangan nyo kung ano yung magiging sagot ni Lord, and then i-analyze nyo. Anong naging epekto ng mga sagot ni Lord na ito sa buhay ko? And I guarantee you, lahat ng effect niyan sa'yo, yes, no, wait, ano ka na lang, mapapahay ka na lang, Lord. Buti na lang, ito yung sagot mo. Talagang truly, whatever your answer is, it's always what's best for me. Ito yung magandang outline sa prayer journal for those of you na gagawa nito. Column 1, what you prayed for, ilagay mo dyan. Abangan mo kung anong sagot ni Lord dyan, yes, no, or wait. And then look back ka. Look back. Kapag marami ka nang pinag-pray, look back. Tignan mo yung mga pinag-pray mo. Ano yung mga sagot ni Lord? And in what way do you think this answer, that God's answer to your prayer, paano ito nakakontribute sa current life mo ngayon? The more you realize na ang sagot ni Lord sa mga prayers mo, it's always for your own good. It's always for your best. Boom! Doon maha-highlight how much God loves you. Yun yung benefit nun. Kapag sinundan mo yung prayer, ginawa mong lifestyle mo. Lalong marirealize, lalong ma-enhance, lalong tatatak sa'yo how much God loves you. Alright? So, yun lang, yung maikli nating hindi lecture tawag dito, no? Psycho-devotion on Luke 18, 1-8. If you have any questions or meron kayong gustong i-share in connection to this passage, ilagay nyo lang dyan sa baba. Sir Howard here. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.